from Stampin' Eat, and welcome back to another card making session with me. And today I want to show you how I made this very simple card, but what really is the highlight are the words and the bubble embossing folder that I used. And both the circle and the embossing folder are actually available in the online exclusives that are currently available throughout Stampin' Up across all their different markets. And super excited to see that the 2-inch punch is back. Now, I have held on to my punches for many years, and so this is still the original punch that I had from way back when, and I've just been to check on the New Zealand market and it's currently still unavailable, but do keep going back and checking, and I will put the link at the bottom of this email for you, at the bottom of this video for you, where you can shop online with me. There are also some amazing things like the embossing folders, and let me just show you what they are. It's a pack of 3. There's the bubble one that I've used to in this card. Then there's the sort of corrugated crisscross one, and then this gorgeous flower that also could sort of be like a starfish, and I thought we would use this one today while I'm making this video. So for the rest of this card, you're just going to need some designer series paper of your choice. I'm also embossing this in black, and I've used some white twine and some matte dots in sweet sorbet to match the matte. And inside I inked the same from the same message, which is in the annual catalogue on page 64, Stepping Stones, and there are some amazing sayings on this in this stamp set. Wrinkles should merely indicate where smiles have been. I think that's beautiful. So I thought, let's make this card, and I love this sentiment. Great works are performed not by strength but by perseverance. And I feel like I almost need to give that card to myself, because you know how some days when you're just working and doing the right thing and you don't always see results immediately? Well, I think that Samuel Johnson quote is absolutely perfect. So what am I using for this card? My usual base of 8 1/4 scored by let's do that again, 8 1/4 cut by 5 1/2 scored at 4 1/8. And did you catch the video that I posted last week where I showed you my tips for making multiple cards? And if you haven't, you should see there's a little right hand link card for you showing you where you can click on that and you can go and watch that video. So the designer series paper I'm using is from the Country Flora Designer Series Paper Suite, and that's currently in the mini catalogue, which will be coming to an end at the end of April. So if you love this paper, don't take too long. The next thing you're going to need is a piece of white cardstock, and that is, so that designer series paper is 4 inches by 5 3/8, I think it is. I'll pop the measurements on for you. And this is 2 inches by the same 5 3/8. So I think it's 5 3/8. So, but the measurements should be on the screen. I'm going to use this basic 3D folder, and just so that you know, we usually line them up to be level with that black line, and then that way you can make sure your design is going to be flat. And because it's a 3D folder, you will only need plate 1 and plate 4 of your cut and emboss machine. So I'm going to run that through the cut and emboss machine, and I will come back. All right, so we've got this really interesting pattern, and I'm actually going to go with that side up, and you're just going to need to glue it onto your card base like so. And then for the next step, you're going to need some scrap. I've used some scrap in sweet sorbet, and your 2-inch punch. Just keep scrolling through that online exclusive. There are a lot of pages, and it's towards the end. Quite sneaky. It's right at the end. So just keep looking, and you will find it there. Now I'm going to stamp with my Versamark the same sentiment as what I did for the original one, and I'm using my embossing buddy. I just wanted to find it. I'm using my embossing buddy and just taking off the extra. So why am I using an embossing buddy? That is to take off the static of the card, just in case there was dust on there, or if it's dry, then it can actually be quite static, filled with static. I'm now stamping it with my Versamark, and I am honestly just eyeballing it, and that's a really good sign when it sticks. And so here you can see, hopefully you can see the words are on there, but I'm going to actually use my black embossing powder, and I like to put my embossing powders into a container, and part of your embossing accessory, you can actually have these tweezers, which I find super helpful using little projects like these. So generously cover it with your black, and I might just go on a second time just to make sure that it's covered like that. And then all you need for this part is your heat tool so that you can emboss the black. So now that I've embossed that in the black, I'm going to just adhere some tear and tape behind it, and you can see I redid it because the P was actually not showing. Funny, I thought I wouldn't have to tell you that, but there we go. I did. I had to redo it because it was sticking, wasn't showing, and I thought, nope, I need to redo that. It's not showing at all, because I'm going to actually send this to my team leader. She came to my rescue the other day with sending me some supplies that I needed to do some commissioned work for a birthday party, and I knew I wasn't going to have enough for my to do the work before my order arrived. And isn't that amazing? That's what I just love about the Stampin' Up family, is that we all just help each other if and when we need to. And I love it. I love that we can just be part of a family like that. So as you can also see, I'm literally cutting the last of my little gingham black and white ribbon. That's also when I ordered that, it was also on back order. So lots of things are on back order at the moment, but that's okay. We will just wait patiently. Bear in mind, Stampin' Up has also announced to us demonstrators that we're going through a color refresh, and we will have the details of that at the end of March. So depending on when you watch this, we may or may not already know. So I'm just popping this over here in the center. Do you know, when you combine rectangles and circles as a template, you can never actually go wrong with your card design. But I do think I am liking the floral more. I'm also using, can you believe it, the last of my white twine. seems like everything I'm using for this project is coming to an end. That is rather amusing. So I'm just going to combine this in my normal bow, and hopefully I will be able to get it tied with this little bit that I have in my fingers. Brilliant. Okay, so that's going to be, I might just do that as I usually do, just a second time. Hopefully I've got the right one. Yes, so color refresh. They've already indicated some returning colors. It must be colors from before when I started using, or maybe it was colors that I had not been aware of, but they've spoken about, I think it's Lost Lagoon is coming back, and I'm not sure of the other ones, but we'll have to wait and see until the end of March and then go accordingly. So pop my bow on there, and all that's left now is to put some dots on there. Now I think actually I'm going to put my matte black dots on this one, so I'm just going to go and grab those. Instead of taking them out, I thought I'd show you what I do with my embellishments. I've actually got categories for them, black and white, and in here are copper, but I keep all my embellishments that work together in families, because I was finding that I was looking for things all over the place and it just wasn't working for me. So I eventually sat one morning, didn't take me that long, and I sorted it out according to colors. I've got colored ones, I've got matte ones, I've got shiny ones. Works so much better. Okay, let's make the inside for this card, and for that I am just going to glue the trim that came off the extra, and I'm just going to put that on my basic white inside, and you're going to have a little bit of extra, so you can just trim that off. And I'm putting, oops, not on the camera, I'm putting that on the end there. And I'll just use my paper snips to trim that off at the end. And then I am going to use my Stamparatus for this part. And I love a Stamparatus. I was actually teaching our Sunday school last weekend and we used the Stamparatus and the kids had so much fun. So I usually, when I'm teaching a class or if I'm doing multiple projects, I'll put an X on where the corner of that project needs to be. Just put your magnets down, and then if you don't know how a Stamparatus works, you would place your stamp where you want it to be. So I just want to check that this is not going to be skew again, because I actually put it on quite skew last time. So let's just line up the top of that stamp with those grid lines, and I think that's better. I'm then going to ink this up with my Memento Black. Of course you could use Sweet Sorbet, but I just wanted to bring in the black, and you just press it. This is great if you've got fingers that have got arthritis in them, or you've got wrists that have got arthritis in them and you struggle. Your Stamparatus is brilliant for that. Or if you're the kind of stamper that doesn't stamp straight, you definitely want to get your hands on a Stamparatus, because that way you will always stamp straight, and if you don't have enough ink on your stamp and you need to go back, then you'll know you always won't stamp skew the second time. Now for this one, I'm matting it on black because I did it on Sweet Sorbet there and I felt like it just disappeared. So I'm keeping the theme of red, white and black. Those colors always work together so beautifully. And I'm putting that like that. And there we have a very inspirational Just wondering, does it need more than that? I don't think so. A really inspirational card that you can whip up together using a couple of items in the online exclusive. So your basic 3D folders, as well as the 2-inch punch, which has made a very welcomed return back into us as Stampin' Up lovers. So I hope this has inspired you to go and have a look. There's some amazing specials on the online exclusives. And remember, it's pretty much first come, first serve with these. They are not always going to necessarily be available in recurring supply. So just keep that in mind. And if you do like what I have made today and you are living in New Zealand and you don't yet have a demonstrator, please feel free to click on the drop down box and you can shop exclusively with me. And I do appreciate that. And on that note, you can also sign up for my newsletters as well. The drop down link is below as well. So thank you so much for crafting with me today. I hope you are going to have fun and that you're inspired to go out and grab these specials while they're available. And remember, until we meet again, stamp, eat, sleep, repeat.